Hello, welcome to my kitchen in real life. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about creating a command center. So those of you who want to have a little bit more intentionality in your seasons, being proactive, it's a very complicated system of pen to paper and hanging it up according to what's happening in that season. So I thought it would be fun to kind of go through what's happening in our season. So a lot of these reminders and flyers and schedules and words have changed because now it's the middle of summer. And so since probably about May, I took down all of the winter and spring summer reminders and schedules and teachings, and now we have up the summer one. So let's go over a little bit about what I have here. And again, don't do what I'm doing. Like, think about your own life and create some command center resources that are going to be good for what you guys need in your life. So for us, we have here some questions to ask your children at home. These are great for when I'm tired at the end of the day, or my husband, and we don't want to ask the same questions. We can use this as sort of like, oh, I'm going to go over and maybe write one or two down. It's right next to our kitchen table, dining room table, which is all the same here. So you might use, what did you observe? What was a surprise? So I found these questions to ask your children at home a few years ago, and just this kind of always stays here just so we have some new things to have conversations about. Last year I read a book. I can't remember the name of it now. It just fell out of my head, but it was really beautiful about integration of mind-body skills for adults and children. The integrated brain, the yes brain, something like that. Dan Siegel. Something like that. And one of the things that they were talking about was to shower your kids with the 4 S's: safe, seen, soothed, and secure. But I like having this here also for myself so that I'm showering myself. So both reminding here, this kind of doesn't really leave, to focus on these areas for the kids, but then also for me. Underneath that, we have the Parent's Guide to a Growth Mindset. So this is from the Big Life Journal. I'm a big fan of the Big Life Journal because they really have wonderful practical tips and worksheets for kids who have fixed mindset. In our family, we have about a split. We have some people who have fixed mindset a lot of the time, and so we're constantly working on and thinking about what does that look like. And the Parent's Guide, that's why it's up higher too. It's more for myself and my husband to remember some of these concepts. The 4 agreements, I just feel like are great for everybody to know and to review. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. I was finding myself repeating these, and so I thought, let me just print it out and put it in the command center. This side of the command center, if you can see, kind of usually stays. These are basic things that we are always having. We can have dinner discussion on, a Shabbat dinner discussion on. I can kind of just stand here and look and remember. I don't necessarily need to preach to the children, but I can keep it in my head. The other piece that I've recently added for this season are the 5 Steps of Emotion Coaching by John Gottman. And so this really, I love this. Can you see this little, here we go. So step 1, be aware of your child's emotions. Step 2, recognize emotion, an opportunity for connection or teaching. Step 3, help your child verbally label emotions. 4, communicate empathy and understanding. And 5, set limits and problem solve. So we're working a lot with emotions in our family. So anything that has emotions has the graphics. And I love the Gottman Institute for anything relational. This is great. So we have a kiddo in our family who has a really hard time identifying hunger. And so I use the hunger scale from intuitive eating, and my friend Allison Tepper introduced me to the hunger scale, hunger and satisfaction gauge, let your body be the guide. And so we have here, this is from Green Mountain at Fox Run, but here is the hunger scale, and we've been talking about where we usually are. Do we are too hungry or too full? So this is, again, relevant to what we are going through in our life and the conversations we're having and kept giving these supports. And at the bottom, I have the contemplative tree practice, which has wonderful practices and reminders of all things contemplative practice, from music to journaling to improvising to acting games to centering, silence, and being in nature. Lots of great tools and resources to remember here, because our contemplative practice is the foundation for our community home. Not everybody in our family would necessarily say that or agree with that, but for me as the CEO and the leader of our family and the command center, having this up is a great reminder for us all. Okay. So now I go over into like the logistics side. So right now, what we're working with is I have a little list. These are some of the learning websites and games that the kids can go on. This is great because it helps me remember, again, we've got a lot of subscriptions to online learning academies and things like that. So this has all the passwords and the websites, especially if I'm not here and someone's logging into a different computer. I also have here our list for fall 2019. What are the things that the kids may want to take? What do I want to research? That's just a little reminder, mainly for me, and also when the kids say they want to do something, so I can kind of keep that up there. And then as we move more towards August, I'll pull that down and start implementing that. We also have, because we're away a lot over the summer here and there, our dog sitter and house and kid sitter list. So that's a different list each season because we live right by a university and our go-to dog and house sitters changes. So I like having it here. Also helps other people when I'm delegating, to my husband or one of the kids, they can help contact people who may be available. I have the precepts from the IMCW retreat, the family retreat that we just went to and helped co-teach, which I just posted up because we said them every day. So it's a great reminder for the kids. And then I've got our little summer calendar. And what I did this year, which is different than years past because our schedule was different this year. I'm going to sit down so hopefully it's not moving around so much for you. And what I did this year was just map out, okay, here is the whole summer. Here's the calendar. And because we're doing things basically week by week, I numbered the weeks. This was really good for my son to know, just so he could say, what week are we on and what are we doing next? He loves to have that information. So checking off where we are and what we're doing week by week. This is a wonderful full summer guide, and then I'll do the same for the fall. I will do mostly monthly for the fall. That's usually what I tend to do is map out the big rocks is what we call it in Plan to Thrive. But each season is actually a little bit different based on what's going on with the kid's life. Next, I have the little How to Nurture a Child's Mental Health Guide, which has been up here all year, and it's a great, again, reminder. The kids like to read it. I like to read it. My husband, it's good for all of us to have. And then we've been doing a lot of love languages in our family, the 5 love languages for children. I'd read the adult book many years ago, and while we were working with the emotions of my son this year, I thought, I wonder if there's one for kids, and there was. So I love the Mom's Guide to the 5 love languages for children. And we've been talking a lot about love languages in our house and talking about how we all express love. And so this little guide I just got online, I just Googled it, is just an overview of the 5 types, and then what are the ways that they, hints your child gives that they are that type, what they enjoy, what's a tip for mom or dad, and then what's the bottom line. So the number one job of parents is to meet their child's needs for love. A child with a full love tank equals a healthy, emotionally stable child. So I love this guide because we're in our home talking a lot about love languages. Next, I have the STOP guide from mindful.org. And it looks like Alicia Goldstein did this. So this is the STOP acronym that they use in a lot of mindfulness and mindfulness classrooms, mindful classrooms. So the S is for stop what you're doing, put things down for a minute. The T is for take a few deep breaths, and it gives a little bit more information. O is for observe your experience. And then P is for proceed with something that will support you in the moment. So we're going to be talking a lot about STOP. Not quite yet. I just printed out a copy for our command center and posted it. And as we move more towards fall, this is going to be something I'll be working with the kids, or just at least, again, have up here for dinner conversation. Sometimes during dinner or breakfast, or just when we're kind of hanging out at the table, I may pull one of these sheets down and just have a conversation with them about it. Okay, so on the other side of that, for summer, specifically, I have a Together We Can list. And this was because the kids were saying at the beginning of the summer, the whole I'm bored or I don't know what to do, when I would say get off the screens or their screen time would be up. And we did a little chore system. Actually, I have that right here too, for them so that they could have a sense of what their chores were for the day, and creating some skills for the summer that we wanted them to do. So things like balance a simple budget, make a scrambled egg, do a simple sewing, like just some really basic life skills are what we're focusing on this summer. And so I made a list of 20 of those. So those go on their daily chores. And then they just have these, we make them once a week. This time I divided them up into body, mind, heart, and then their skill. So the kids each have 2 things in each category every day that they are responsible for. They check off the list. They love doing it, and they love coming up with their body, mind, and heart options for the week. Sometimes I help them with that, and sometimes it's just what they create for their little to-do list or their checklist. But what was happening was they get an hour of screen time, of just like total free open screen time. And then when that was over, they'd say, I don't know what to do. So I made this Together We Can list with just some brainstorming, and they're helping create this. So what can we do together when we are done with screen time, or we're looking for something to do? Go for a walk, read in the hammock, ride bikes, paint, write a letter, cook or bake, play cards, take the metro. So again, just having a list is so helpful for me, not just for them, but this helps me remember, what are some simple things we could do together that would be fun? And so the list should be unique to your family, right? The other thing was beyond the checklist of body, mind, heart, and skill practices for the day, especially over the summer. We're home a lot this summer, so it was really important for me to have some kind of structure so that we could have freedom and play. I know that the structure and the routine helps me feel more grounded and more solid. So I made this little everyday chart, which is just kind of an overview again, where we're looking at, these are the things that are expected. These are not the checklist. These are not add-ons. These are just kind of like, this is what I expect every day, and just a little reminder. And this changes seasonally too, based on what they're doing or not doing the season before. So this is helping them elevate kind of their own daily tasks and habits. And because my kids are getting more, we're talking more about food and integrating food, and they're both starting to be like eat less things. I do have like a little daily food and what's a carb, what are considered carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and veggies, so that they can kind of check, did I have some of these today, each of these today, just overlooking. And then my kids really have a hard time remembering to brush their teeth in the morning. I don't know about you, but they're fine at night, but not in the morning. So I have here brush teeth twice a day, right? Just having them, reminding them that that's what they need to do twice a day, and washing their hands. They're, not good about washing their hands when they first come in. Of course they are after the bathroom, hopefully sometimes. But just some of these reminders, having them here for this season. And the last thing that we have on this command center for this season is our family goals. Again, this is from the Big Life Journal, and this we did in January for this year. So this is staying here all year, and we kind of keep adding to it. What do we want to do for adventures, health and self-care, relationships and growth? They give you some great ideas, and so this has been up here all year, and we kind of circle back with that each, maybe once a season or so. The other things that we have that kind of always stay on the fridge command center are some fun questions for school. When were you bored today? Tell me one thing you learned. Tell me a weird word you heard. What's the coolest place at school? So I don't even remember where I got that. It was many years ago, and that always stays here, and we sometimes have that for dinner as well. Then there's also the other thing. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you. So this was the skill list that we created for this summer. In summers past, because I am a former teacher, I've always done skill-based like workbooks and reading and things like that, which are great and important. This summer, I wanted them to learn how to write a letter, how to make a phone call, how to take a message, how to do laundry, how to shake hands. I did things that they obviously already know, which will help them feel like, hey, I know how to do that life skill. But I put things, how to wash the dishes and how to sweep the floors, how to make a simple budget. We put on how to play poker, so that these are really the life skills that were fun for us to teach them, and were more fun to kind of work through these life skills over the summer. Okay, that is my summer command center. What about you? I want to hear, what do you do? What are the pieces of your command center that you love to make? Do you have a command center? Maybe you feel inspired to create a little area in your kitchen now. And even if you're not doing this for your family, I highly recommend doing this for yourself. I have a command center in my office upstairs, which has all of my reminders and my current mantras and affirmations and projects I'm working on. And it just keeps me motivated and inspired. I like to change them up every season, and they're really fun, especially if you're creating them yourself or you're printing things that you want to remember, because having things visually can be so helpful for remembering the things that you want to remember in your life. Have a little bit more intentionality and responsiveness to your life rather than reactivity or just being on autopilot. So may you be happy, may you be safe, may you be healthy, may you live with ease.